Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome all of you to this this event under the initiative of Inspirational Talk Series. So, primarily, this series of event is intended to help the Indian students to engage with them, disseminate the information. Under this uh, event series, guest speakers from the field of entrepreneurship, startups. So they will share their first-hand experience with the students here. Firstly, how unique this program is or how it is beneficial for the students. First one is you are getting the first-hand experience. You are hearing the stories from the people, person who is actually in the field, actually who has tried their hands. Second, it is more authentic because it's coming from the people. Then third, it's a peer group kind of thing. Though he is an entrepreneur or startup now, earlier he was a student like you, who has come over here and then who have gone through all the uh, you know all the experiences as student and also as an experience as a startup founder. Then another one is there is no financial implications for the participants here. This is completely free of such an initiative from the embassy. And another one is it's a variety of fields. The people you are getting experience, you are getting an opportunity to hear the experience for people from different walks of life. It's not only from particular sector. The founders, CEOs, or entrepreneurs, startups, they are from different sectors. And above all, it is comprehensive. So you may be at different level. They will give you a comprehensive right from scratch. They will help you how you can develop this idea. I mean, conceptualize this idea and develop it. How you can travel in this. So in this way, it is unique, we would say. And about the Indian student in Ireland, it's around there are 10,000 Indian students coming over to Ireland annually these days, and it's continuously increasing consistently. Around 90% are coming for masters, pursuing their master's course, and now around 80 percentage of the 10,000 they stay here in Ireland after their education. And predominantly, the significant portion of this 10,000 they want to try their hands in the startups or entrepreneurship. So that's why we picked this idea to disseminate and organize such event here. Um, Apart from this initiative, embassy is also conducting welcome ceremony for the Indian students here. Normally, the people join here predominantly in September and then Jan, October. So we are holding welcome ceremony. During that welcome ceremony, we are putting in them, them in touch with five influential groups. The one is Embassy of India. The second one is entrepreneurs, like those who are involved in this field, like entrepreneurs here. You have come over, many people have come over. And third one is the diaspora associations. There are around 40 to 50 diaspora associations here. And most of you, maybe you may have some issues in case of accommodation. I mean, the students I'm telling. So the diaspora groups can help you out in this regard. And also, next one is academic experts. You may be studying education in one particular institute, but we are introducing you to the group of academicians from different institutes, well-renowned institutes here. We can share the knowledge. And the last one is the sports or yoga or mental health related groups are here. So we are introducing you. You can spend your time productively. So this is the idea. Whenever we are holding such event, we are introducing you to all the influential groups so that your productive time will be spent in this with these influential people. So today's guest speaker is Mr. Aaloka Anant. So let me introduce him to you. Firstly, he is an innovation-driven professional with extensive experience in leadership roles. He is the founder and CEO of Maya Data Privacy, an engineering-driven privacy AI company. With passion for enabling organizations to adopt new technologies, and improve lives. Aloka has excelled in leading new product initiatives, defining business transformation strategies, and facilitating market rollout of technology products. Mr. Aloka holds several professional certifications, and he has co-founded a non-profit organization, Anand for helping poor students. He actively contributes to academia through teaching and research in NCI Dublin and at Aarhus University, Denmark. In addition, Mr. Aaloka is a multi-talented individual with interest in music, trekking, trekking in snow, and community services. So thank you, Mr. Aaloka, for joining today and agreeing to share your experience, personal experience with our students here, who are, those who have joined by physical mode and also by online mode. And looking forward for a fruitful session now.
Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you for inviting me, first of all. I had a bad throat yesterday and I was not sure if I'll be able to come. So I think it's working and you can hear me okay, so not bad. So what I thought first is it's a talk series, so we'll just talk. But then I put up a presentation to keep a pivot around what we are talking and you know what's coming. So we'll just share the presentation and we'll see what we're going to talk today. So the introduction has already been given, so that's something very important because you should know whom you are talking to. Go to the next slide. So here we have the agenda. Okay. Now this agenda is all stories. So the whole idea for today's session is to engage. So I'm going to share some of the stories which are linked to my life, and then we go in Q&A. So the whole idea is a Q&A, and I would like to keep it AMA. So ask me anything questions. So you have any questions, even from the introduction given, if you have any questions, you can stop me. I would suggest you go to LinkedIn and look at my profile. But yeah, before we start all of this, I should know a bit of who is here and what you're doing so that I can put the story in right perspective. So I'll ask you two questions and ask your answer. Probably we'll just do it a show of hand or show of hand in the tool. So how much professional experience you have? Are you a fresh graduate? No fresh graduates. Good. Anyone online? No fresh graduates. Do you have 0 to 5 years of professional experience? Good. 5 to 10 years? Cool. And anyone with 10 plus years? Yay, cool. Good. The second question, how much of entrepreneurship experience? So first is that you have done many startups. 1 year. 2, cool. So 2 people already have done startup. Great. The second, I have started working with the startup. Which of you have already started working with the startup? And actually, I was the first category. So you have started or you are already working with a startup. Cool. Now the third one is you're still thinking. So you're preparing to do your startup, but you have not yet started. Okay. So we have people. Cool. And having no experience of a startup, but they're willing to join a startup and not a job. Okay. So good that we have people for many of these placeholders. And then I should keep my talk in a way that there's no press grants. I think that's important piece. So I'll focus on that and try to keep it around experienced people and those who have already done startups or have some experience. Okay, so the first thing, we go to the next slide. So here I put up some links, and I guess the slides can be circulated later on. These are some of the links, and first one is, of course, my own LinkedIn profile. So if you go on LinkedIn and look for Aaloka Anant, you'll find my profile. And then I think LinkedIn is not driven by, not even by government, for example. So you can put what you want to show in LinkedIn. So for anyone, LinkedIn is like your face in the digital world, at least the professional digital. So if you go to my LinkedIn, you will find the things which I want to show to the world. Yeah. So it's a very good way to know the story. And you should always read right from the school time where I did schooling, then what jobs the person has done, change in career, change in locations, and you'll get a lot of my stories. So I'm not going to focus on that. You can go there. If you find any questions, just ask. Okay. So that's the first part. The other links in this slide are some of the organizations which I have associated, which is first one is Biodata Privacy, then SAP, which I was working for 10 years in Ireland and around 5 years in India. The Idea Device and Movie DLX, these are the startups I worked for. So they were not my started startups, but I worked for those. Honeywell is another company I worked, and SAP I worked in Bangalore for around 6 years. And the last one you see is a concept which we could never convert into a company. But yeah, that was in 2007. So these things will come in the story. So today I'm going to talk only about the entrepreneurship part of my life and not taking anything else on where I studied and things. And if you have any questions, I'm very open at heart and you can ask me. So we go to the next slide. Or maybe if there is anyone having any question, then
We can keep it last.
we can keep it at the last. But yeah, I mean, I want to keep it interactive. So if anybody has a question, please raise your hand, ask the question. Okay. So the first story is my data privacy. And it's really a story. So I think I would like more people to interact and ask you questions straight away. Because once the story is old, it's old, right? So the story starts in 2019. 2019, actually 2018, GDPR was announced in Europe. And GDPR restricted the usage of data by organizations. Personal and sensitive data need to be protected. So I was working at that time in 2018. I was working to position AI products. It's 2018, not today. And SAP had a solution which we were positioning to different clients. I was doing digital transformation roadmap for clients on how they can adopt new technologies. I did a product rollout for SAP as a pre-sales program manager in 2013. So I had experience of how people adopt technologies. So in 2018, we were rolling out these machine learning based solutions. And we went to a large telecom organization. We had a very nice solution based on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the accuracy of what it was supposed to do was around 98%. So I'm not telling you the whole detail of what was the solution, but what was the problem. So the solution was, in brief, matching invoices to payments and things like that. So it was related to financial engineering. When we presented the AI solution to the telecom company, the accuracy reduced from 98%, it reduced to 55%. And what was the reason? It could have been improved by training the machine learning model with data from the telecom company. And the telecom company said, no, we can't give you data. Okay, it's as simple as that. It's very sensitive, very personal. I know you're going to use it for machine learning training. It's all for me, but we cannot touch this data. It couldn't be done. It couldn't be improved. SAP tried different other aspects which are actually used by companies today. So they try to get into contracts and say, okay, we will protect your data. If something happens, we'll take care of it. There are a lot of legal terms. I'm not going into all that. But this actually triggered me for thinking about a solution. Okay. So I've been into data analytics since 2004. I was a certified consultant in 2004 on analytics and so on. 2005, actually, I got my certificate. I started working in 2004. So I was like, okay, how it will work if you cannot get data from machine learning, right? So you see so many lawsuits like ChatGPT is sued by the New York Times and so on, and their data is just being scrapped and used for training. So what's the real way? What's the valid and genuine way of using it? So that's where I started in 2019. And I started with the research. So I associated with the university, Aarhus University, where I had to give a presentation, and one of the professors said, "Okay, would you like to research on the topic?" And we started studying, like doing research with Aaloka. So we did research, we invested a lot of money, did some prototypes, tried to find solutions based on blockchain, based on different solutions that you can use the data, but the personal information is out. Worked for 2019, 2021, 22 is when I realized that this is a genuine solution, and I left my employer SAP to start this company. But yeah, these years I published a lot of research papers, had a lot of POCs done, had a lot of trials, failed trials, and so on. In 2022, when the solution was more mature, and I was even presenting such solutions to SAP itself, and it was all going good. There was my employer, so it's all in the employment. Then I left SAP and started this company, my enterprise. So that's when the company was registered. But the roots were sown into 2019. So it's very important to understand this journey for anyone. Because if you just think, okay, this is a great idea, and let me just go for it. Yeah, go for it. Why not? But depends on how deep is the problem. It may be that you're solving a problem which is, well, if you call in the next story, so let me not. But for this one, it was a very deep rooted enterprise problem, very, very technical issue. And we had to research a lot to get to a solution. So the papers are all published. If you look at my LinkedIn, you'll find the papers and you can read through. That's where the company started. In the last 2 years, we have done several engagements with many clients where we done some POCs and things. And right now we have a very stable product available. And we are in this, like we did revenues last year itself. And now it's about enhancing the revenues 8 times from last year what we had. And yeah, we are in a startup. We do a lot of things, not only for a technical solution. You work on your investor decks, you work with your sales side, you work with your product side, and the biggest thing is building the right team. So all this I did last 2 years, and maybe then I stop and open for questions if anyone has. Yes.
What type of solution it is like? I know we're talking about data privacy, and in 2022, what made you feel that this is successful? Because did somebody accepted that product, and you got your first revenue from somewhere that made you feel okay, this is market accepted in the market, and let's leave my job and go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, what gave you that confidence to leave your job?
Right. That's a very good point. Is what's the trigger?
Yeah.
What's actually triggered that you should leave this and make this as a solution? So I was working in SAP in digital transformation space, and I proposed this solution to SAP itself. Why don't you do this? Why don't you use this approach? And then I was given some pilot projects, and those pilot projects were based on services. So you implement some sort of service and you provide a solution, which is the end result. So those were appreciated. There was a good pipeline of services. And in fact, the first approach was to ask SAP itself. I was a very loyal person at SAP. I like to work there. I worked there for around 18 years, except for the other startups and Honeywell. So it was very much like I was going to stay in if they have said that, okay, let's make a product offer to this. But SAP was of the view that this is not their space. So, and this is a very important learning as well. As any company you are, even when you do your startup in later stage, company has to decide what they have to focus on. So SAP decided that that's not our focus. We are not in a security space. In fact, there was a program in SAP called, I have awards in that program. It's also published, which was more on building the entrepreneurs. So startup within the. So I was selected one of those and promoted and all that. And SAP has very, very friendly environment for entrepreneurs. I really appreciate that anybody is going to join SAP after your college. You should look for such programs. It's very, very promotive. But then SAP or any organization, not only large, small organization, has to decide.
Yeah, they have their own priorities. But what was the solution around?
The solution is around data conversion, so data transformation. So you transform data in such a way that you can still use the data, but there is no personal and sensitive information anymore in the data.
Encryption, basically, like, encrypt the data, mask the data, right? So
yeah. So there are several technologies around it, like encryption, masking, anonymization, pseudonymization. permit preserving encryption. There are several technologies which are used in this space, but most of the technologies fail on the piece of utility after anonymization or after transformation. So yeah, I'm not going much in that topic, but definitely we
No,
can.
I just talk data analytics.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm curious and I have those questions because I work with a healthcare firm called Doctor.
Okay.
And it's a US-based firm. And what we, I mean, and the thing is that whatever data, there is a separate database for Ireland.
Right. Yes.
Because again, there are, privacy.
Privacy.
Whatever data we can access is non-PHI, PII. So, but they do some kind of work. I don't know what do they do, but I know that is what you're talking about. Okay.
Right. So in medical terms, it's called data blinding. So that's another thing. So there's so many terms in the industry. First, it took me some time to understand them as well. So what unique solution which we were looking for was that if you have an application like the telecom company had to take data out of the application and give it to somebody. That's the only solution existing in the market. So with my research and the company, what we do is you don't have to take any data out of the solution. So basically you can run an end-to-end the e-commerce application and it will have all anonymous data. So basically you can use all the data. And it's not only PII, PHI. We work already with a hospital where we did this for 500,000 patients and they have an ordering system, their whole financial system. Now they can use the whole financial system to train their employees to do software testing, machine learning, collaborating with the pharma company, using all that data, and it's not selective. So you can use a complete ERP system, CRM system, and so on, a complete system. You don't have to extract, and because when you have to extract, there's so many rules.
So basically, you're putting your product into their system?
Into their environment, into the system, and it transforms the data in the system itself. Yeah. So they're
and how do you
actually
do the POC? Because that needs they need to accept the product and they need to ensure it is safe enough for this product to be put inside their database environment.
yes. So these are some of the challenges, and every company normally has a way to do POCs. POCs are as risky for any company, so of course it's a complicated topic, and this is where the whole engineering piece comes in. So yeah, we can discuss again if you want and explore this topic. But it's a very interesting sector. And these are actually hints and answers. So if you not ask the question, then you should get this. The sector. So I started with SAP, enterprise applications. But there's a question here. Yeah.
Hi, Aloka. I just want to ask one question regarding your challenges which you faced from switching from the regular job to a startup. So, how did you prepare for those challenges, and what challenges have you faced? If you can tell us more on that.
Oh, there are many. The whole day will be gone. I think it's very different for every person how they decide on this threshold. Like the trigger from technology point is what we discussed, but then there are triggers from other perspectives, like you said, the personal part. How will you say, okay, I'm ready to spend another 2 to 5 years into something where you may not have earnings or you will be busy 50 hours, 60 hours a week, and so on. So what I did, and I think anybody should do this, is to outline that challenge. So what is stopping you? Write it down. And I think writing down is like my kind of thing. Everybody has their own ways. But writing down is one of the easiest, okay? Because you can see this. And once you see this, it's not only one sense which is working, but you have other senses which are working on that problem. So it helps you take quicker and more informed decisions. So write down the challenges. So if it's family, kids, travel, money, rent, whatever. And for my case, it's family, but maybe students, they don't have families, started their families, but it can be something else. So put out all those things, make a list, put threshold against each. Against each. So what does it mean financially? I have to pay my rent or EMI for the house, whatever. Okay, so I need, say, 2 years, 2,000 per month. 2 years is 24,000. So I need to save 24,000. That kind of thing you have to do. Kids, okay. So my case as well, I have two kids, and I have to really wait for one of them to go to school, and you have these kind of choices. So you make a list of things, make thresholds. You meet the thresholds, you're ready to jump. Otherwise, you'll always keep thinking because the list will keep increasing. And if you, I mean, everybody has this. I think this is a normal thing. We all have the opposite voices in our head, right? One will say do it, one will say don't. So until you have a visual representation and the do it side overpowers the not do it side, you will not be out of things. So I hope it helps, Abhishek.
Yeah, it is actually. But I think you are suggesting that it is better to start a startup early in your life than later in your life. When you have less responsibilities on your shoulders.
I wouldn't say so. It's a different kind of startup in the two stages. So if you have been experienced the startup, the kind of startup you'll be doing will be different than the kind of startups you'll be doing when you're young. But it's not, it doesn't matter at what stage and what age you want to start. Completely doesn't matter. That's my view. But yeah.
So, with your extensive experience, did you think that there is always a backup plan that if this does not work, plan A of a startup, then I can go find a job again and that will be tough?
Yeah, I take the question. I think Manish online also has a question.
Yeah, Alok. So earlier in 2013, I started one company, not here in India, and basically it was in Delhi, and it was an IT company. So that time it was purely on a IT side, but my experience was not good because the condition which was not very inducive in India, and most of the company was not giving I mean to say the projects, because it was the service based or some product was also we were use I was using a solution provider. But I'm just thinking about yourself, that because you are in a different country and the challenges here in Ireland, the expenses are very high, and how you accommodate, because when I was feeling 2.5 year, I was feeling difficulty in India, and you are in Ireland, how you survive here. That's what I am thinking about you, because I know about the what challenges you faced, right? You faced, I know.
Stocks, SAP stocks. Yeah. Okay, so good question. So we'll take both the questions. How do I survive, and how do any entrepreneur can survive? And then your question. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll pick this first. How I survive personal questions. So in Ireland, it's expensive, but in Ireland you have a lot of support. So there's so many programs from government which you can dive on, and they not only give you money, they also validate your idea. So even though you have a pile of cash, I don't have, by the way, even though you have a pile of cash, it's always a good idea to go to those agencies, break your head, try to convince them that your idea is good. You will refine your idea, you will improvise it until they are convinced, and then they will give you money. So, I mean, my funding for my data privacy came from New Frontiers when I just started, not even a single day, not even company registered. And then from Leo, actually, before I came to Enterprise Island. So we were funded by New Frontiers, Leo, and that was around 50, 60,000 euros before we could get to Enterprise Island, which was then the fund which they give for ESSF. So I think it's a good idea to look for the available resources in case you don't have enough savings, and maybe for students and everybody else, it can be different story. So yeah, that's my one. Okay.
One more question, Alok, because I just want to know about more about you. Because when you will hire someone in Ireland, you have to give salary on a proper range. You will not give the salary how in Indian companies are giving, when a startup companies they are not giving. So in that case, you only worked in your company or you hired someone else also in your organization?
So this is something where my answer is not that significant. I did answer from a payroll consultant. Okay. I got all these answers from a New Frontiers program. Okay. There was, and even today, if I have any question like this, I send her an email. And I typically get an answer for free, so without charge. Because we build those rapport in those New Frontier programs and so on. So they gave very good advice on how to employ in Ireland. I had a consultant from US who worked for me, Poland, Germany, Netherlands, and they all work for the company. So there are different ways of engagement. Of course, salaries, work permits, visas, these are different things. And yeah, I mean, that will need more of a closer discussion on what is your current problem to give you the right solution. But there are several ways of engaging people, not just a full-time employment, because that's definitely very expensive.
What is New Frontier program?
It's a very good program you can look for on the internet, and I can forward to Google and you can pass on to everyone. It's a very good entrepreneurship development program, very similar to many other programs, but Enterprise Ireland funded program. It's a government funded program, and they give you a stipend which is tax free. So basically, it's double the value because it's tax free. And it's 2,500 stipend when I did it in 2022 per month. And they give it for 6 months plus extension possible, depending on how you do in this first 6 months. So it's 2,500, 6 months is only 15,000. But practically, if you take the tax equation, it's very good money because you're getting 2,500 cash post tax.
And they teach us in that program, they teach about how
They teach a lot of things. Exactly. I mean, I would have been difficult. I have faced a lot of difficulty if there was no such program. Being an Indian, yeah, being an Indian and not being familiar with the ecosystem, I don't say that you must do the program, but if you do the program, there's definitely a big plus.
And a related question, how much investment is required for a startup, because let's say you said
Zero.
zero, okay.
To start a company,
You said say 50, 60,000 they funded, right? So was it needed or if you say zero?
well, so 0%, with your idea, you can go out and you can directly sell the idea without any investment. And then sell the idea, as in you can get clients and things. So there are startups in Ireland, and mine is not the best in that way, where somebody left a large organization. He had friends in the large organization. They said, yeah, if you do this, we'll buy your product. From first month, he started selling to them, and he worked out with some very small cash to build a solution. And he started the engagement with a large organization, which gave them very good traction. So essentially, you need zero funds if you have the right people, not ideas. Okay, if you know the right people who would need such a product. So for any startup, it's important to validate the idea. There is a buyer for your solution. Otherwise, it's always a challenge.
So zero means zero from one part.
Yeah, zero from own pocket for sure. But yeah, others you can have. And customers are the best investors. So if somebody is paying you for your solution, that's the best validation and the best thing. But yeah, unfortunately, for many of the ideas, it's not possible. I get Manish's question, your question, and everybody is struggling there. How will I make the solution? How will I sell this? It's not easy for everybody to convince somebody and say, yeah, I'll buy your product, even though you build nothing. So yeah, you'll need some capital. So the New Frontiers investment, 15,000 plus they invest 15,000 getting you consulting, mentoring and so on, to 30,000. Then Leo gives several grants. Then there are good ways to get this kind of funding. So, that's all. Your question I missed.
Yeah, so it was on the same lines because people here have that sentiment or they're asking that the question when to make that plunge. And my question just goes a step forward that if you have made the plunge, do you still at the back of your mind think of
Plan B? Yeah, plan
that okay, I will join the job if this doesn't work out?
Yes, of course, you have to keep the backups, but it depends on your resilience. How long you can push and how much you believe in your idea. That's another thing. There are many ideas which are, and that goes to my second and the third stories. Maybe we can go there and tell you, but it's true for anyone, right? So maybe get to the slide. and we just skip the second. We go to the end of the slide, the last story. I think did not think that it'll take so long, but okay. You can go to the next slides.
Uh, do you mind? I just have a couple to ask. Hello.
Yeah, sure. Go to the next slide. We'll skip this story. Otherwise, it's a very long story. Yeah, the next. Yes. Okay. Manish, if you have a burning question, yes, please go on. I'll just go.
Yeah, this is Abhishek Alok. I just have a couple of questions, if you mind me asking.
Do you want to hear the story and then question?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So this story is 2007. That's your plan A, plan B, plan C thing, right?
Yeah.
So this time I was not having any money. I was having debts. So 2006-7 was the time. There was not much of credit cards. And me and two of other friends had an idea of converting the tickets, movie tickets, to online tickets. Okay. So we planned it out. We thought we'll convert and do the online ticketing, which you say today, but in India there is a
Book my show.
My show, yeah. Before that, there was something called iTickets. In Bangalore, they started iTickets, and then Book My Show became more popular. I learned a lot from Book My Show, and yeah, okay. But what I did here? So 2006 was just 2 years into corporate world, and yeah, we were all budding with ideas and a lot of things. So this is a problem. Like every after doing college, you go to movies. Everyone does that. I hope, except those who are not into movies at all. And we were like, this is a huge problem. Let's just fix it. So me and two others where one was in Accenture, another one was in yeah, that's the thing. He was studying. 2005, he completed Triple IT Bangalore, and we were talking, and he was with a small firm at that time when we were talking. So we conceptualized the technical part. How will we do all this? We conceptualized the business part. How can we roll it out, go to market, talk to a theater as well, as in a movie theater. And everything was kind of lining up. And that's the plan A discussion. So it's very important. So the tech guy in us, I was also a tech guy, but the guy who was basically doing the major part on doing these APIs and building the flow. At that time, the cloud was also not much popular, right? 2006 and 7. So he got an offer from Texas Instruments, which was a very highly paying job. And then we were all on the table and we were like, what do we do? Should he leave the job and stay in this, or should he take it? And he was of the view that, see, I studied 6 years, 4 years engineering, and then this triple IT. I really have to make money and like family and everything. So at that time, he was not ready to continue. So either we choose another guy or we all decide, okay, what to do next. So this idea was very good. 2006-7, iTicket started after what we have thought of. And Book My Show picked up even later than this. So we were right in terms of idea. We were right in terms of the marketing, GTM and everything. They all did it the same way. But the team was not ready. Okay. And we didn't do it. So we wrapped up in 2007. And so he got a job. He got a job with a high-paying job. I got admission into IIM Bangalore. So for me also, it was a question. I could have continued with the startup and IIM or SAP and IIM, not all three. Because otherwise you can't split your time appropriately. You can't do that. So you have to take a call as what you want to do. And yeah, so this is your plan A, plan B discussion. And many of the ideas you will put aside and say, okay, right now it's not the time. And I think I was right. We were right in that time because 6, 7, even credit cards were not popular. If we are given a forum to buy tickets online, we wouldn't have got this audience. And we would have struggled for 3, 4 years. It would have been good if there were investors. In 2006-7, even investors were not there in Bangalore. Bangalore was the outsourcing capital, but not the investment capital of India. It was not even possible to get investments. Technology would have built, so we were fine for it. GTM, we talked to theaters, they were all dying like, yeah, somebody's solved this problem. But the cards were not there, so we would not have get the buyers. And investors were not there, so we would have struggled 4 years. I hope it answers.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a question online. Abhishek dropped. Okay. So if he joins
Hi.
back,
Yeah, I'm audible.
yes. Okay. Yes. Go on.
Yeah, I just have a couple of queries. The first thing, when you said that you got help from the local organizations, whether it's Leo or Intrio, where you get funding and even the plan validation. So, would you have the specific contact points for them, more specific details where the budding entrepreneurs like me can reach out and get the ball rolling with them? And the second one is, uh, second one is once you made up your mind, you have your company, you have gone through all the process of registration and setting up, your product is ready, then how do you go about selling your product, the most critical part? How do you get your customers? What was your strategy there?
So the first question, support and connections and contact. If you look for new frontiers, you will get many programs. So, and they all have their website and contact point. If you don't get through, then you can write to me and I can connect you directly. But they all have a dedicated channel. So it's for them, it's their KPI to find you. Okay. They would love to talk to you. And they have, in fact, all of them have this. So they have a pre-program. It's called pre-accelerator or pre-new frontiers. Pre-new frontiers also has phase 1, 2, 3. In the in the pre-program, you need to leave your job. Okay, so you can stay in your job. You can do a 6-week program for free. They don't charge you anything for that program. Yeah, your idea should be sounding right. And that's the same with
Yeah.
NDRC. They have a pre-accelerator and so on. So this is all available. This is the good part. That's what is Island. You can sound your idea with people who are into this topic and they can help. And the second part on selling, you don't have to sell when your product is ready. You have to sell from day one. Okay. You are selling the day
Yeah.
when you started your company. Okay. There's no way you can sell once your product is there. You'll be burnt out by that time. So you have to start selling before you have started your company. First the idea, then the way you're going to solve it. So the solution, many people will say, don't disclose your idea, and if others can copy. So if somebody else can execute your idea faster than you, then don't do it. Simple as that. Because you'll lose it anyway. And it's very true. If you look at companies, many cases, the first mover advantage is a disadvantage for me. And even though they started first, they are not the leaders. So if you can execute fast, that's important. Execute fast, fail fast, get all the bad remarks, comments, pivot. We pivoted twice from what we started with. And right now, what we have is something which we have already worked with a customer. So you have to find the customer, their pain point, what they need as a solution. So yeah, and then you take a choice. You have limited money. You want to solve this problem or that problem. And these are the choices which will keep you running. So you have to, I think, to come back to your question, sales, you have to sell from day one. Find a customer who can buy your minimum product, never build your full product. If you have somebody who cannot buy even your minimum product, very less likely they'll buy your full product. And it's very difficult if you're a technologist. Because as a technologist, you always think, no, it's not ready. Even I did not buy this solution. But if even one or two features are something if somebody cannot pay you for, then why will you pay? Why will they pay you for the full solution? So always try to sell
Yeah, my query is more around, as a new startup, you don't have that market credibility. Then how do you reach out to customers and prove your worth? What were your challenges? How did you overcome? Because it's very difficult for a new company to reach out to a customer and establish that trust, gain
correct.
that trust, and sell your product.
Yeah, I completely feel that. We haven't overcome. Startups don't overcome this problem in first 2 to 5 years, I would say. Until you have somebody who is already somebody in Ryanair and he says, yeah, let me give me your solution. And I met a few guys here in Ireland who had similar journeys. So somebody left KPMG and then sold their product to KPMG on day month 3 or something. Somebody left Stripe and they sold their product to Stripe in the next 3 months. So this is a story you can replicate this, and there are many like me as well. Like we had a lot of problem in convincing people, depending on the sector. You're working in healthcare and the likes. The sales cycles can be years, year, 18 months, and so on. Exceptions are few. So you have to be ready for that duration. And even if you have somebody who says, yeah, like this week I was talking to a company, they work with HSE, so Islands Health Services Executive, for 18 months. They got investment, so they survived, but they worked for HSE for 18 months. And at the end of 18 months, HSE said that this is something we want in open source. They said, no, we put everything in open source, like all our investment is gone. They withdrew. So getting the trust from customers, I think the success stories I told you, like KPMG, selling back to KPMG and Stripe selling back to Stripe, is personal trust. We'll always sell by personal trust. There is no shortcut. And as startups, until you're in B2C. So in B2B, it's always personal trust. If you are in B2C, of course, it's a different story and people like the thing and they go and try. But in B2B, it's personal trust. People would like to try. And this is where the POCs come in picture. If they have a way of doing a POC, they will engage you. If they have no way of doing POC, like we discussed with the financial services firm, and they say for doing a POC, there's 6 months onboarding. So it can happen. And they're very sensitive with the data they have. So even they didn't do the POC. How will they engage? And this is where I say 2 to 5 years. It'll take you this much time to build your reputation, credibility, and get those industry certifications. So in Ireland, you will find many companies which are there for 3, 4 years, and then there is their round and so on, because it takes time to build your credibility. Okay.
Thanks, Alok.
So we were talking about our product-based companies and product-based startups, and what like I'm coming from a service background, like 15 years of IT service, and I would like to. I'm a co-founder of one of the IT companies in India. So I would like to understand how a service company at this era can make kind of a portfolio for what we are selling, because it's a service. Uh, the outset is like anybody can do the services like what we are doing.
So if you don't have a USP, the service,
Okay.
right? So I don't know what's the problem. Just sell the service. Like I know a few guys here who are good in positioning themselves and selling the service. So this, because service is you incur cost when you deliver the service. The rest is only your business development cost. So yeah, business development cost is some cost you have to bear. You don't have to get an investment. You're not waiting for 6 months of preparation time before you can provide a service, right? So why not?
And one more question, like, is it like I'm doing two different contrast service-based startups at the moment. One is on the art side and one is on the science side, and eventually thinking that it might intersect somewhere in the future. So, but then, what is your take on that? Is it? I don't know like what I'm doing, but then I know it's right.
You try and fail and try and fail and it keep going.
Yeah.
But that's true for any entrepreneur.
Yeah.
In fact, I wanted to talk about this. So there are two types of entrepreneurs you see once you are in this journey. One who are serial entrepreneurs, right? You try something, find a problem, solve the problem. And when it started stabilizing, so you're earning a lot of money, they sell the stuff. Why would they sell? Because they're still earning a lot of money. They sell it because that's not their nature. You will find the next problem, solve the problem. So there are many like this serial entrepreneurs. And you try something, you fail fast, you burn, of course you burn. If you don't get a hit after trying 10 things, of course you'll completely burn out and then you look for something else. But that's the journey of entrepreneurship. And I think 1 out of 10 is a normal success rate when you get invested by a VC. So you can imagine how many failed because they don't even get investment rights. So the failure rates are very high in this space. Be it India, Silicon Valley, Ireland, anywhere. Some stats say there are 2 million companies registered in Europe. 2 million per year. That's a crazy number. But yeah, we're looking for B2B. So we're looking for what companies we can sell and then it stats. And many of them close down. So just you have to try. It works out for you. Second, two approaches, they may meet. It depends. But I think important part is connections and people. You do one side of things, you talk to 10 people. You do other side of things, you talk to other 10 people. Now, the other 10, let's take the other 10 and first 10. So the first 10 didn't give you business. The second 10 may give you business for both your ideas. So it depends on how you talk to them, how they perceive you, because it's a service. Even for a product, because the guy who is buying a product doesn't know how to do it. That's why he's buying a product. Otherwise, they will build it themselves. That's the case with B2Bs, right? They have money to invest. With this financial services company example I gave, they actually wrote back to us and said, we don't have 6 months to onboard you. We are doing an in-house development. So they put money in in-house development because of the part that they cannot give us. And if you see even 6 months, less than 6 months. So it's like, and maybe they come back to us after 6 months and say, okay, what we tried didn't work. Let's work with you, and that can happen. But yeah, it depends on how you build the relationships and proceed in pitching your ideas and stuff. There's one more question online and one. Yes.
Yeah, Alok, Manish is here. So, when you did entrepreneurship here, so the team or the startup company who is sponsored you or who funded you, they helped you in selling your product, or they provided you because definitely you are not from Ireland, you are from India, and you have a baby fits here. So because you need to be create your own circle here, it definitely takes time, and people will not recognize you immediately because you are a new one in the, and data is very crucial part for most of the company. Nobody can share you in a, even though in a in a KBs. So how they can, and data privacy is when it is a bigger challenge here in Europe. Maybe so how you get through it, because it's very difficult that the product which you had chosen, and how you succeed, because I just want to know about that, because
Actually, I haven't succeeded till now, but we are going on. That's the really point. So we convinced. So I mean, point is very valid, and there's two prongs. One is the initial investors, like initial support in Ireland, they really help you or not in this aspect. And the second one, how you build credibility and things. So the second answer first. The credibility is built with personal things. So because I have a background in this, I was into privacy at SAP, digital transformation. So some people trusted me and gave the project. And then more people trusted me and they engaged with us and so on. So this is how it works. But yeah, you should have some people who at least trust. Second one on the supports. Supports don't give you any profits or even introductions. That's true in Ireland. If the support is by university, yes, you have chance. But the supports like New Frontiers, they don't introduce you to any customers or any projects which you can. Yeah, if it's a Nova UCD, probably they will promote you, take you to different people where you can present and you get customers. There are different agency here like Innovation Exchange and a few more, which interface you with companies where you may get projects. But yeah, those agencies are not helping you to get customers. So this is your own hard work. I think we are
great.
over time,
Yeah,
but
thank you.
okay. Good question. No, we'll take that. Sorry, if you're allowed, yes.
Privilege to get the last question. He told us about the New Frontier program. I think that's a good takeaway. Not everyone has an idea about consent time, but some people might be interested in the journey, so on, like me. Is there any forum, like New Front is also a forum only for entrepreneurs who have an idea, or is it also a forum for people who just want to, get into the stuff? Or is there any other thing in Ireland?
So New Frontiers, as far as I know, they start with an idea.
Any other forum then which
You can simply join and look for other people who are like-minded. There is one forum. Last year they started. It's called Founders. So yeah, it's in Dogpatch Labs. It's started by a US entity in
they
Ireland.
charge a lot?
They don't charge anything.
You take the program.
They don't charge
Maybe they're
anything.
talking about others.
So you're talking about the wrong program. So most of the programs which are geared to funding, which are geared to assisting you in validating idea and all, they're free. That's for sure. And in Ireland, at least, they're all for free. Getting in is a difficult thing, of course, but I know many, even if you're talking about Indian origin people who got into the program. Ratio will be less, of course, like there are 5 million Irish and even if you say 100,000 Indians, the ratio is less, right? So you have less proportionate intake in them, but yeah, they don't take any fee. The founders of think it's not supported by NDRC, but it's a separate entity in itself. They started last year. What they did was I think Manmeet was here sometime back. You can join those forums and you'll get those announcements. So they made an announcement to say anybody who's interested in a startup can apply. And they had some questions to check what are you interested in, even if you don't have an idea. They put those people practically in a room for around 3 months. As in, there will be meetings, there will be meetup where people will talk to each other. And by the end of that program, they came up with an idea. And then they were given money to work on the idea. It's all free. They didn't charge anything. So yeah, there are programs like this. One of them I know is Founders. It's difficult to Google it because to find Founders is not right. I think you can go to Dogpatch Labs in person as well. I didn't do the program, so I don't have direct connections, but one of my friends did. So maybe he's in the groups, the group which we have from the embassy. He's in that group. You can just ask anybody who did the Founders program where they and he will reply. So the group is very nice that we have.
So let's conclude this session now. Thank you so much, Mr. Aaloka, for your wonderful session. You have very nicely put it here. Some of the takeaways, maybe from my point of view, I have learned from today. As an entrepreneur, first of all, the way you started, survey. Before starting this interaction, he has just asked for giving surveys. Survey means what? He wants to know who is the audience. So that is the first thing. And any entrepreneur or any person should learn that. So he is sincere to his work. What he is going to do is very sincere. It's not like just like that I'm delivering something. So it should reach the correct people, and I should reach the correct thing to the correct people. So I found this is this is the unique kind of thing from a person. Second thing is interactions. Instead of having a one-way talk, he just wanted to have it as an interaction. Because successful people or the people who want to get succeed, they want to talk less and listen more. Maybe that's why I'm talking more. So next, optimism. I found a lot of optimism from his stories right from beginning. Many of the challenges, how to convert it to opportunities. I heard this from his stories. And next one is in a lot of his answers, he was very crisp and brief. So that what he's achieved. First of all, he had your attention for this quick span of time. He answered first. Second, he saved a lot of time, not only for him but for others. So that is the one thing maybe I have to we can learn or we can keep in mind. And then next one is of course this is a communication. This is a communication part, because at the end of the day, how we are going to communicate, how we are going to sell our product. So that is the last one. That's a storytelling technique. So he has given his lecture or interaction a storytelling technique. That storytelling technique is a very successful one. You could say you can do this even when any of your interactions, even within the family, with your kids, with your spouse, with your colleagues. This storytelling technique is an amazing thing, and you have incorporated in your interaction. So that's why these are the things which some of the things which I have observed. Many of you might have observed a lot more. And regarding this series, since we have started now very recently, this is the second in line. It has not yet reached to the people. First of all, not many people can join in person and also online. Maybe some other reasons because of Friday or they have to travel, but the recordings of this event will be shared along with the presentation will be shared with the people here. So they will be helpful for the predominantly the students. We are targeting the students actually. So this will be shared by email, social media, and WhatsApp, and word of mouth, and also with your personal connections. We can share this. Hope more people will join in the future. Right. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all, especially for your participation and your time. Thank you so much.